Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Vabhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama-shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtike Om Ajnana-timirandhasya Jnana-anjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. By His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. We are reading from Canto 3, Chapter 17, Victory of Hiraṇyākṣa over all the directions of the universe. So we just concluded Chapter 16, where the demigods, they approached Lord Brahmaji, and Brahmaji, he ascertained the root cause of the darkness, sudden darkness in the universe, and he confirmed the conclusion of the demigods that this is because of due to the pregnancy of Diti, and then he narrated the entire pastime, including description of the Vaikuntha planets and how this Jay and Vijay, they were cursed by Jatushkumar. And so what has happened is demigods became satisfied. They knew the cause, but they had no remedy. And this is one of very powerful lesson here, is that their problem was not solved, but they were satisfied by hearing Krishna Katha that was narrated by Lord Brahma. So the problem is not yet solved. So it is being explained that sometimes we may not have the immediate solution to our problems. And therefore, this principle of Utsahat, Nishchayat, Dhairyat comes into play. That one has to patiently perform devotional service and wait for the solution to appear. Right. So this is very important. That sometimes that we now here there are the demigods, extremely powerful entities, but they had to patiently wait for the appearance of the Lord, and they continued their performing devotional service. So this was chapter 16. Now chapter 17, there are four major sections. Section 1 is verse from 1 to 15. Inauspicious signs, omens, after the birth of the twin brothers, these two, Hiraṇyākṣa and Hiraṇyakashipu. They are Jai Vijay. When they are going to take birth, there are certain omens that are being elaborately discussed. Second section is 16 to 19, how these brothers grew up. Third section is 20 to 26, how the Hiraṇyākṣa, who was younger to Hiraṇyakashipu, although he was born first. Okay, so that we will come across a very nice description of when the twins are there. Just like yesterday, our Ananchit Prabhu, he was blessed with, the twin sons, twins, right? So the first who came out of the womb is the younger, and the second one is considered to be elder. So although first, happy birthday first was to Hiraṇyākṣa, but Hiranyakashipu came out later, and Bhagavatam says that the Vedic thought is so deep that because he was conceived first, therefore he came out later, and therefore elder is Hiranyakashipu. So of course they were just a few muhurtas, minutes away, but still Hiranyakashipu was the elder brother. And you know that Vedic paradigm, the throne is passed on to the elder son, right? So this is how the Vedic thought goes so deep in deciding this also. So Hiranyaksha was very obedient to Hiranyakashipu, and he began to conquer all the world. And then text 27 to 31, when there was nobody left to conquer, Hiranyaksha became very, very nervous, and he was fighting with anybody and everybody, and thus he challenged Varuna. And then there is a discussion between Varuna and Hiranyaksha. So now we continue. Text 1. निशम्यात्मा भुवात् गीतं कारणं शङ्क्य योज्यता ततः सर्वे अन्यवर्तन्त त्रिदिवाय दिवौकसः. Translation.
Maitreya said, the demigods, the inhabitants of the higher planets, were freed from all fear upon hearing the cause of the darkness explained by Brahma, who was born of Vishnu. Thus they all returned to their respective planets. Purport: the demigods, who are denizens of higher planets, are also very much afraid of incidents such as the universes becoming dark, and so they consulted Brahma. This indicates that the quality of fear exists for every living entity in the material world. The four principal activities of material existence are eating, sleeping, fearing, and mating. The fear element exists also in the demigods. On every planet, even in the higher planetary systems, including the moon and the sun, as well as on this earth, the same principles of animal life exist. Otherwise, why are the demigods also afraid of the darkness? The difference between the demigods and the ordinary human beings is that the demigods approach authority, whereas the inhabitants of this earth defy authority. If people would only approach the authority, then every adverse condition in this universe could be rectified. Arjuna was also disturbed on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, but he approached the authority, Krishna, and his problem was solved. The conclusive instruction of this incident is that we may be disturbed for some material condition, but if we approach the authority who can actually explain the matter, then our problem is solved. The demigods approached Brahma for the meaning of the disturbance, and after hearing from him, they were satisfied and returned home peacefully. Hare Krishna.
So now here, after hearing the cause of the darkness, the fear within the demigods was mitigated, and they returned back to their heavenly abodes. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that the elements of four elements of basic instincts, they exist everywhere. The proportion may be different. What are the four basic principal elements? Activities: ahara, nidra, bhaya, maithunam cha samanyametat pashubhir naranam dharmo hi tesham adhiko vishesho dharmena hina pashubhir samana. So this principle of fear, bhaya, exists not only in the earthly planet, also in the planets of the demigods. The duration may be very less, but the principle of bhaya is always there everywhere. Abrahma bhuvana loka punaravartino arjuna. This is the element of, this is the characteristic of the material world, and therefore these four principles will exist everywhere. So the struggle will be there in India, the struggle will be there in Ethiopia, the struggle will be there in America. The levels of struggle may be different, but struggle is there always everywhere. And here we see, although such extremely powerful demigods who are controlling, they are like Chandra, Indra, Varuna, Vayu, but still they are afraid at this particular point of time. Prabhupada says the difference is that the demigods are glorious because they approach the authorities timely, whereas the human beings, they defy the authority. That is the difference. Demigods, they will very quickly and very timely approach the authority. Srila Prabhupada gives another example of Arjuna. When he was bewildered on the battlefield, he was reasoning himself, Arjuna Vishad Yoga, the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita. And then he realized that, I came here to fight. For our whole life, we were preparing for this battle. And I am not able to take decision. Shishyasteham. Arjuna immediately he surrendered. Karpanya dosho pahata svabhava. Pruchhami tvam dharma sammudha chetah. Yat Shreyasan. My dear Krishna, please tell me what is Shreyasan? Nischitan, Bruhitan me, Shishyasteham Shadimam Tvam Prapannam. I am becoming your disciple. Surrender unto you. So, Prabhupada says, it is very important that one should learn to approach the authority timely. And this is how demigods approached Lord Brahmaji, their own authority, very, very timely. Brahmaji explained the matter. They were free from the fear, but the problem was not solved. Right. Text 2. Now we come to Diti. Ditistu bharaturadeshat apatya parishankini purne varshasate sadhvi putrau prasushaveyamo. Translation?
Translation: The virtuous lady Diti had been very apprehensive of trouble to the gods from the children in her womb, and her husband predicted the same. She brought forth twin sons after a full 100 years of pregnancy. Hare Krishna.
Ditistu bhartur adeshat. Now, as per the instruction of Vidura, Kashyapa, Diti now bore these two children. And she is Sadhvi, very, very virtuous personality. Somehow she got disillusioned for a moment, approached the husband at the wrong time. Husband also gave in that moment. And the whole thing happened like this. And now she realized that she is going to be the cause of, she is going to be the mother of all the problems within the universe, right? Who is the problem? Hiraṇyākṣa and Hiraṇyakashipu. And she is literally going to be the mother of all the problems. And therefore, she decided to hold on to the pregnancy as long as she could. And she held on to the pregnancy for 100 years of pregnancy, full years of 101 full years, Varsha Shatam. She was a sadhvi, very great personality. Putrau, Dvivachan here, that, because the twins were going to be born. Now, this pregnancy period, what was happening outside? Text 3. Utpata bhavastatra nipetur jayamanayo divi bhuvi antarikshe cha lokyakshyoyur bhayavaha. Translation?
On the birth of the two demons, there were many natural disturbances, all very, all very fearful and wonderful. In the heavenly planets, the earthly planets, and in between them.
So now everybody could able to observe very horrible omens that because of this birth of these two powerful demoniac personalities, like natural disturbances, very fearful and wonderful, both fearful and wonderful, just like these twin towers were destroyed by the demons, by the demoniac force in America, 26/11, 9/11. So this was fearful. At the same time, it was wonderful in the sense. So these were kind of things, and were everywhere, heavenly planets, earthly planets, and in between them, Divicha, Antarikshecha, Bhuvi, and everywhere one could see these signs of some terrible thing going to happen. Now, what all the signs are? Text 4. Sahachala bhuvans chelur dishas sarva prajvalau Solkascha ashanaya petu ketavascharti arti hetavaha. Translation.
There were earthquakes along the mountains on the earth, and it appeared that there was fire everywhere. Many inauspicious planets like Saturn appeared, along with comets, meteors, and thunderbolts. Purport: when natural disturbances occur on a planet, one should understand that a demon must have taken birth there. In the present age, the number of demoniac people is increasing, therefore, natural disturbances are also increasing. There is no doubt about this, as we can understand from the statement of the Bhagavatam. Hare Krishna.
There were earthquakes along the mountains on the earth. So this is very rare, right? Generally, the earthquake will not happen along the mountain range, because that soil, the technical reason is That ground, that soil is supposed to be very firm and steady. But there were the earthquake along the mountains, right? So in Maharashtra, when there was an earthquake, very famous, very benchmark earthquake, and along the Sahyadri ranges, and there was a huge questions put forth because of the, maybe it was because of the Koina Dam and other things. Because the earthquake will generally never happen along the mountain range unless something otherwise. There was fire everywhere, prajvalatu. Many inauspicious planets like the Saturn, Shani appeared along with the comets, meteors, and thunderbolts. So there was a sudden appearance of these planets along with these phenomena. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that the natural disturbances occur on a planet, that means that a demon is taking birth somewhere. And in the present age, because of Kali Yuga, the demoniac population is increasing. That means natural disturbances are all increasing across. The only remedy is spreading of the Hare Krishna movement, and especially chanting of the holy names. Text 5. Vavau vayus sadusparsha futkara nirayanmuhu unmulayan nagapatin vatyani rajo dvajah. Translation.
There blew winds which were most uninviting to the touch, hissing again and again and uprooting gigantic trees. They had storms for their armies and clouds of dust for their ensigns. Purport: when there are natural disturbances like blowing cyclones, too much heat or snowfall, and uprooting of trees by hurricanes, it is to be understood that the demoniac population is increasing, and so the natural disturbance is also taking place. There are many countries on the globe, even at the present moment, where all these disturbances are current. This is true all over the world. There is insufficient sunshine, and there are always clouds in the sky, snowfall, and severe cold. These assure that such places are inhabited by demoniac people who are accustomed to all kinds of forbidden sinful activity.
So the further, there were there blew the winds which were most uninviting to touch. Dusparsha. Sometimes the sparsha of the wind was only very, very irritating. Hissing like a snake again and again and uprooting the gigantic trees. There were the storms of the dust and the clouds everywhere in the sky, and thus there were continuous disturbances at the time of birth of these two demons. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that there are many natural disturbances like blowing cyclones, heat, snowfall, uprooting of the trees, and this is the indication that the demoniac population is increasing. Contrast we will see when there is an appearance of Lord Ram, or appearance of Lord Krishna, or appearance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, one will see exactly opposite omens, right? So, or even appearance of a great personality like Prahlad. So one will see this is how the nature reacts. Nature gives the indications. People say universe is speaking. This is how the universe speaks, right? So in universe will speak through the nature around us. Universe will speak through the body within us, right? There are the certain lakshana within the body which are considered to be auspicious and inauspicious. Only thing is that one has to be slow enough and conscious enough, mindful enough to note these changes and take the indications from the nature around and the body within. Prabhupada says these are the indications of the sinful civilization. What are the indications? Insufficient sunshine, asurya namate loka, andhena tamasavrita. Asurya. Asurya means insufficient sunshine is considered as one of the sign that there is a prevalence of a sin. Then there are always clouds in the sky, snowfall, and the severe cold, right? And such people, there where the sin is prominent, and especially the sin of killing of the cow. Okay, especially this is considered as one of the gravest of the sin, and which is prominent in such a place. Text 6. उद्धासात्तादिदामोघ घटया नष्टभागणे व्योमी प्रविष्टतमसा नस्मन् व्यादृश्यते param. Translation.
The
The
luminaries
illuminaries
The
the
luminaries in
illumin
the heavens were screened by masses of clouds in which lightning sometimes flashed as though laughing. Darkness regained everywhere and nothing could be seen.
Yeah. So the luminaries in the heaven were screened through the masses of the cloud. Excessive clouds always. One is not able to see the celestial planets around. The lightning sometimes flashed as through ghastly laughing. Okay, so sometimes we can see the lightning, like the brightening and the sound will be so deafening and blinding that one can become terrified even within the house. Not that you have to be even outside of the house. So these were the constantly happening, and the darkness reigned everywhere, and nothing could be seen. These were the omens. Text 7. Chukrosha vimana vardhir uru urudurmi क्षुभिदोदरः सोदपानाश्च सरिता चुक्षुभु शुक्षपङ्कजा. Translation.
the
the
ocean with
ocean
its
with
high
its
waves
waves
wailed
wa-
aloud as if stricken with sorrow, and there was a commotion among the creatures inhabiting the ocean. The rivers and lakes were also agitated, and lotuses withered.
So whatever auspicious withered away. Shushka pankajaha. Lotuses withered. The oceans had tremendous high waves as if stricken by the sorrow. There was a commotion all around the creatures, within the creatures of the ocean, and the rivers and the lakes were also agitated. Generally, the rivers and the lakes will not be agitated, but they were agitated suddenly because of some imminent danger on the planet. Text 8. मुहुः परिधयो भुवन् सारावो शशिसूर्ययोः निर्दाता रथनिर्दाः विवरेभ्य प्रजध्मिरे. Translation.
Misty
Translation.
halos appeared around the sun and the moon during the solar and lunar eclipses again and again. Claps of thunder were heard even without clouds, and sounds like those of rattling chariots emerged from the mountain caves. Thank you, Prabhu.
So now the further, many halos appeared around the sun and the moon during the solar and the lunar eclipses again and again. Okay. So it is not that eclipse is a newfound phenomena. They are followed in India Vedic tradition for thousands of years and crores of years. Sanatana rather, ever. Right. And if you see the Panchanga, Dati Panchanga and other Panchangs, which are very famous, you will find the times of the eclipse, which is entirely based on Vedic calculations, precisely for next 100 years. Right. Claps of the thunders were heard without the clouds. So there were no clouds, but there was a thunder. And the rattling chariot sounds emerged from the mountain cave. And there was a terror all across. Later, there is a beautiful, there is a aptly named chapter in 7th canto. Hiraṇyākṣapu terrorizes the universe, right? So Srila Prabhupada used this word right before the terrorism was born 60 years back. But this is what exactly was happening. The universe was being terrorized. It's 9. Antargrameषु मुखतो वमन्त्यो वह्निमुल्बणम् सृगोलाकारलुकद्वारे प्रणेदुरशिवं शिवाः. Translation.
in the interior of the village, she jackals yelled portentously, vomiting strong fire from their mouth. and jackals and owls also joined them with their cries.
So while the nature behaved like this, the animals also contributed. And the Antargrameshu, the inside of the village, the she jackal yelling, vomiting strong fire from the mouth, and the jackals and the owls they joined in their cries. Okay. So when the animals cry, it is not considered as a good omen. So animal cry is considered as they have seen the Yamadut, and that is. So you will see that, especially old people in the house, whenever sometimes the dogs are crying, or when we'll immediately chant the holy name, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Because there is some imminent danger which animals can sense and humans cannot, and therefore one should take immediate shelter of the Lord by chanting the holy names. So this is how these were the various omens. They were visible all across, and the entire planet was terrorized. Not only the planet, but the planet, Antariksh, and the space in between, all these omens were visible. So we will conclude here and continue tomorrow. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Prabhupada.
Prabhupada.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you,
Thank you,
everyone.
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, Hare Krishna. Thank you.